When Nike signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal, they struck gold. So why in the world are they ignoring her? Have you been following the WNBA drama lately? Getting pretty intense, and Nike hasn't done anything to promote her. We haven't seen any advertisements, commercials, merchandise, or Caitlin Clark's signature shoes. The current MVP, Wilson, is going through a bit of a slump, and people are talking about it. It was like, wow, Caitlin Clark comes out of Iowa. And I started saying, hey man, she's the biggest star in college sports. And then after what she did at Iowa her senior year, I started thinking, we haven't seen this in America since Tiger Woods talked about a strange flex, but this woman is going to dwarf the men in terms of popularity and influence driving me. Let's talk about what happened with Wilson in that big game against New York. The fourth quarter rolls around and she just disappears for 2 points when her team really needs her to step up. It's not exactly MVP material, you know. It's like her entire season just flipped upside down. The WNBA has never had anything. Cheryl Miller and Candace Parker couldn't really move the needle. Now, they have this woman, but wait, while Wilson is struggling, there's this new kid on the block who's ready to take that MVP crown. We came to watch Caitlin Clark play because she is a superstar, not a female superstar. The WNBA has been searching for someone who can challenge the champion. So buckle up because we are about to get into this young player who is making waves and making the WNBA relevant. I'm wondering why she isn't getting promoted, and how did Nike get her at such a reasonable amount? Wasn't it 22 or 32, 28 million over 8 million over 8 years? I remember when rookies used to just sit back and learn. Well, Caitlin Clark didn't get that memo. She's not just playing the game. She's owning it like she's been here for years. Some of this may be revisionist history before we all sat here and argued that she should go back to Iowa. Yes, because she would die and get absorbed by the WNBA, and everyone would stop watching her. That's when Nike came along and asked, what's giving coaches nightmares? I thought, well, this will be over with after college. But within 72 hours, or 72, 86, 96 hours, is it 24, 7 plus 96 for within 4 days? I'm telling you, I think I pivoted to, definitely pivoted after the WNBA draft. Okay, so it was before there was a game because we've never seen anything like this before. The Indiana Fever was a mess last year with a 13-27 record, and now they're on fire, and I can't stop watching their games. Clark's not just playing, she's running this show like a pro. Nah, not Nike, but they're experts at this. Let's focus on Caitlin Clark, a rookie sensation who's completely changing the WNBA. She's not just playing for the Indiana Fever, she's changing the entire game that they were able to see. Again, you weren't around at the time, but it's like when Michael Jordan left North Carolina, there was a guy at Nike who did that, and they made a movie about it. Matt Damon played or something, but yeah, Sonny Vaccaro. Get this. The same team that started off rocky with a 1-7 record is now making everyone take note. When I wrote about the corporation's awkwardly angry play for female customers back in 2021, I couldn't have predicted that the mega corporation would sign the biggest women's college basketball player in history in 2022. It's also incredibly fortunate that this player's interest in the WNBA, where she finished as a rookie and her games would average over 1 million viewers compared to the games of other players that would register 300K road arenas packed where she goes. Crowds of girls wearing her jerseys. Nike signed her for 8 years at a low price. And I assume that Nike is doing fantastic in 2024. Because it sounds like you're describing a billion-dollar athlete who suddenly appeals to previously to demos. They were essentially at the bottom of the league, just above Washington, who couldn't win a game to save their lives. Fortunately, they signed the woman to build a brand around them. Did you catch that the Fever has been in 3 out of 4 TV games this season? On average, there are 3 million viewers, which is pretty cool. It's got the I feel like it's Fever, but it's also Iowa, so you get the best of both worlds. None of another one that you'll probably see me wear later, which is even more Fever. so just wait for that one. However, you do have the yellow ones, which kind of look like the Bruce sleeves I wear, but they're still different. I like the gold swoosh. The black and yellow are the best color. I didn't design these. I adore them. So please give them to me. They're pretty cool and they do their job well. I don't make those decisions, so you'll have to wait. Adidas has been quick to embrace Caitlin Clark, especially after Billie Jean King, a sports icon and Adidas ambassador, recently praised her for an amazing season and winning Rookie of the Year. If Kayla gets her own shoes, we expect you'll wear them for sure. Anything for C-Square, she should give me all the colors I want. But is she giving you any clues as to what it might feel like? She's not at all. But I'm confident that once she decides what she wants to do, we'll be among the first people to watch it at home. Clark has transformed this underdog team into serious players. The Burrs are the only team that the Fever hasn't yet defeated, and whether we believe that the Aces are as dominant as they were in the past or not, they are still the defending two-time champions. Additionally, she is leading the league in assists, outscoring everyone else by 25 for a rookie, which is crazy. However, the Aces aren't who we thought they were until they make it to the playoffs, as there are a lot of other intriguing storylines about what we will or won't see from them. At the start of the season, it was all right. We're watching for Caitlin anyhow, and we're watching for her amazing passes, her logo shots, and how much more history she makes. But to be honest, I didn't see this coming from her college days. The people who listen to her, the people who have watched me color cover college women's basketball for the past 3.5 years, I'm a huge fan of Caitlin Clark, just like the majority of us. You think she has haters? I'm sure she does. There isn't a single very famous player on the planet who doesn't have flawless court vision, and now her teammates are prepared to catch the ball. They believe she will get it where it needs to be. But the Fever are still a young team that, as we mentioned, hasn't been in this, and they look like they grew right before their eyes. If Caitlin were to come straight out of college and have the kind of grueling run she's had to have, I would say, yes, arrest her, get her some, and the Olympic break, which is a big part of why you're seeing so much of this team be re-energized. Back pass, come on, I love it. And that wasn't the only time she does that. She drops it right there to Aaliyah Boston, and I think that was a Clark-Boston connection. Those two have been the league's second best scoring tandem behind Asia Wilson and Jackie Young, and they've been so incredibly efficient. The last time we were all together for the show, we talked a lot about their pick and roll together, but the numbers show that they're playing with joy. For the record, Caitlin isn't much of a defender either, even though she can and will steal the basketball. The steals are pretty good, and we're talking about passes that can compete with the best in the game, like those from LeBron James, whether it's a long throw across the court or a smooth bounce pass. Caitlin Clark is showcasing skills that are quite exceptional for the WNBA, is beginning to push Asia as the league's best player. Because although Rookie of the Year was more than 2 weeks ago, Caitlin Clark is suddenly starting to push Asia Wilson for MVP. I apologize if I'm exaggerating, but her passing stands out because she doesn't just find open teammates. She creates scoring opportunities that seem to come out of nowhere. I believe that Indiana is a problem, and the way they are playing lately, the fact that Caitlin Clark can shoot from almost anywhere on the court is what makes her stand out. Defenders are frequently left in disbelief as she sinks shots well beyond the three-point line, forcing teams to completely rethink their defensive strategies. Caitlin Clark has improved and adapted to the speed of the game, and her players have grown accustomed to playing with her. She can read defenses and make split-second decisions. It's like she's playing chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers. The reason why Clark's long-range shooting is truly revolutionary is that when she starts making those deep shots, it stretches the defense and creates driving lanes for her teammates. It's like basketball geometry at its best, with Clark masterminding everything. In her rookie year alone, she has already broken multiple records. So to give you an idea, she averages 19. But what allows her to hit those 35-footers even when a defender is directly in her face? 2 points out of 5, 7 rebounds, and 8. Shooting 41, 4 assists per game, 34, and 7% from field. 4% from three-point range in addition to a remarkable 90. Caitlin Clark is making a big impact in the league. She's not just a shooter or a passer. She's the whole package. She can score from anywhere on the court, set up her teammates perfectly, and even grab rounds when needed. She's like a Swiss Army knife on the court, always ready with the right skills for any situation. And Caitlin is getting a lot of buzz lately. Playing with her feels electric, and you can sense the excitement she brings to the game. Her all-around talent is changing our perception of a WNBA MVP. She's not just racking up impressive numbers. She's elevating her entire team. Gone from being ignored to being a must-be player this season, all thanks to her incredible. While others were taking a break during the All-Star festivities, Caitlin was working hard in the gym to improve. And now we're seeing those efforts pay off. Just when everyone thought the MVP race was clear-cut, things got interesting. The rivalry between Clark and A'ja Wilson has sparked a debate that could forever change how we define greatness in basketball. Wilson has already won the MVP award 3 times and was a unanimous choice the last time around. What surprised me was that Caitlin Clark finished 4th. I would have placed her 2nd if I had a vote. What makes a WNBA MVP? If you think that teams that take the most open and high percentage shots typically win, then you could argue that Caitlin Clark is currently the best player in the world. Usually come from top teams, so it makes sense that the best player on the best team should be considered the most valuable. You might say that A'ja Wilson's team is still stronger overall, and you'd be right. But does that automatically make her more valuable? Her individual talent is off the charts. She's not just scoring, lifting everyone around her with her assists and court vision, which fundamentally changed how her team plays. Keep in mind that Indiana isn't a big market like New York or Los Angeles, but here we are with the Fever led by someone who played at Iowa and is now creating some of the most watched WNBA games in over 20 years. It suggests that the WNBA wasn't as popular before Caitlin Clark arrived. This ongoing conversation is forcing the league to reevaluate what value really means. Is it all about individual stats, team success, or how much a player lifts their teammates? Clark's influence on the Fever is evident. She's not just racking up numbers, she's changing the culture of the team. Huge deal because she became the first player in the WNBA history to record at least 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 steals in a single game. She also became the first player this season to record 2 games with at least 35 points and 5 steals. However, the problem is that Wilson was the MVP the year before, and after she struggled in the playoffs, particularly in the 4th quarter. People are beginning to question whether she's still the best. This is especially true now that Caitlin Clark is beginning to shine. Remember the controversy surrounding the Nike commercial with Wilson? It wasn't just a minor grievance. It sparked a large discussion among WNBA players outside of the US, and now it's coming back to haunt her. Statements may seem good, but they can be used against you if you lose. Just a few weeks ago, Caitlin Clark won Rookie of the Year, and now she's vying with A'ja Wilson for the MVP award. I'm not kidding. She's making a strong case for being the best player in the league. She's not just putting up crazy numbers. She's changing the way that people talk about who's the best in the WNBA. For years, Wilson was the top dog, but now that Clark is shining, fans and experts are talking about her. It's not just about statistics, though. It's about style and how much a player can help their team. When I watch younger players, whether they're from college or abroad, I'm impressed by their skills, but I'm also looking for their weaknesses so that I can defeat them in the league. Wilson and Clark's rivalry is more than just 2 players competing. It's transforming our perception of the WNBA. From casual fans to die-hard basketball fans, media coverage is increasing. Social media is buzzing with every highlight. And finally, the league is receiving the attention it deserves. Both Wilson and Clark are handling this spotlight in different ways. Wilson is using her recent setbacks as motivation to bounce back strong. She has something to prove. Every year brings new challenges, and has put a target on her back with her interviews and media presence. Even when critics attack her for things like her logo celebration, she maintains her social media presence. Clark, on the other hand, has a target on her back. Every team gives their best effort when they play her. The big question is whether or not the way she handles pressure and continues to play at this incredible level is exactly what women's basketball needs to grow. It's not just about feel-good stories. It's about realizing that the WNBA is a serious league where every game matters. Let's face it, sports are more fun when there is rivalry. The competition between Caitlin Clark and Wilson isn't just entertaining. It shows us what happens when we embrace that competitive spirit. It proves that women's basketball can be just as exciting and intense as any other sport on the court. Off the court, these players may be friends, but once the game begins, it's all business. Let's focus on the positives here rather than like Magic and Bird. The WNBA has an opportunity to do the same, but it must refrain from disparaging its players. Are we prepared to treat women's basketball as a serious sport, not just as a side project, but as a real competitive league? Wilson's playoff struggles have given Clark an opportunity to shine. But what's next? Wilson is a superstar, winning MVP and having big sponsorships, but don't forget about Clark. She's right there in the mix as the playoffs heat up, and every game could change things. Wilson wants to maintain her position as queen of the court, while Clark wants to demonstrate that she is the league's future, perform when it counts most right now. Thanks to Clark, women's basketball is entering a new era, but we also need to be involved in the discussion. Wilson's contributions to the game are crucial, and the rivalry between teams like the Aces and Liberty has a lot of potential, but isn't being used much. Therefore, here's something to consider. How can fans help the WNBA celebrate both superstars and team players? We need to support both individual players and the teams they play for. We need to discuss the value of teamwork, leadership, and sportsmanship. We need to recognize the talent and dedication of these players both on and off the court. By doing so, we can help the WNBA flourish and demonstrate to the world that women's basketball is a formidable force.